Welcome, ladies and gents. Alien Romulus is now the second highest grossing film in the entire Alien franchise. That's right. That's right. It has now, it's inching closer and closer to $300 million on an $80 million production budget. Plus, it was filmed in Hungary, which is eligible for a 30% tax rebate. I actually have the Hungarian tax rebate information here. And it does look like Hungary gives you 30% of your production budget back. So it's not a tax rebate. It's not 30% on the tax that you spend in Hungary. It's 30% of your production budget back. And we take a look at it just quickly. So, film production tax relief system. Just real quick, just to explain why Alien Romulus is a success, basically. So the tax incentive scheme of the Hungarian film industry as a result of the approval of the European Union for a 6-year extension in 2013 and a further 5-year extension granted in 2018 continues to be available for foreign and Hungarian films until December 31st, 2024. Besides, through corporate tax-paying companies, the actual amounts will also be available through a deposit account operated by the Film Fund. And so just to scroll through it, the tax incentive system is available for foreign films shooting in Hungary, as well as for Hungarian movies. The tax rebate has, in 2018, been increased to 30% of film production costs spent in Hungary. Okay, so it's 30% of your film production costs. And again, if I scroll all the way down, it sort of explains how and why. What is the intensity of the tax rebate? Or the tax incentive, sorry. The rebate amounts to 30% of eligible film production costs spent in Hungary. The tax rebate can also be applied to non-Hungarian eligible blah blah blah. So it does look like it. It does actually look like exactly the same system that the UK has, which is you register in the country, you have to spend a total amount, a percentage of your overall production costs have to be spent in the country. So essentially, a certain amount has to go towards that country itself, giving them jobs and things like this. And then they just give you 30% of your production back. That's exactly the same system that is available in the UK. Which actually does put the production budget, if they got the full 30%, it puts the production budget of Alien Romulus at $56 million. That's not that big. So them hitting nearly $300 million worldwide is huge. Now, I know, I've said this a few times. I've said about this 30% tax rebate and people are like, that's not how tax rebates work. I was running off the assumption, and it was an assumption at the time, so just hold my hands up, that it was very similar to the UK one, because it doesn't really make sense that it would be massively different, because they have to, all countries where there's lots of filming taking place, they have to appeal to big juggernauts like Disney and Warner Brothers and things like that. So they would set up a very similar rebate. In fact, the Hungarian one's more than what the UK one is. Because the UK only provides 25.5%. But it makes sense that Hungary would be more than the UK because the dollar versus the euro is good, right? Whereas the dollar versus the pound is, you get less dollars for your pounds, etc. So I thought we'd just cover that real quick. Okay, and then we'll take a look at what Alien Romulus has actually done, because it's a huge success. It really is. Massive success. So we'll just scroll down here. So it says this, breaking down the weekend, Alien Romulus was the top Hollywood title. This is the most recent weekend, sorry. As the Fede Alvarez directed franchise installment gobbled up another $22.6 million overseas in the third frame. In the third weekend, it's still doing $22.6 million overseas. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. So internationally, Alien Romulus has nearly crossed $200 million. That's amazing. So it's $194.7 million. I mean, today alone, it may cross the $200 million threshold. So it says worldwide is at $283.5 million through Sunday. And these figures do not include the domestic holiday Monday estimates. right? So stateside, you've got a holiday, so it's going to do more. That's amazing. Genuinely, that's great. So, like I said, these figures do not include the domestic Holiday Monday estimates. The $283.5 million makes Alien Romulus the second biggest in the Alien franchise globally, only behind Prometheus. Whether you love or hate Prometheus, it did a lot of money. So the offshore drop this session was a strong 46%. That's great. While the film held the #1 spot again in China, where audiences have devoured it. And remember, Disney has a much better split than any other studio with China. Because obviously the CCP takes a hell of a lot of the money from everything. Obviously, the fucking Communist Party. But Disney does have a better split. 20th Century Studio being under Disney, they're going to be getting a better split with China. This still hasn't released in Japan yet either. So this is going to be huge still. But it says that the running total in China is now $92.7 million. Mauen is currently forecasting a $110.7 million finish in China. Slightly lower than where ticket sites had it last weekend. Regardless, it had a terrific run in the Chinese market, which is sharply down overall versus last summer. So rounding out the top 10 so far for Alien Romulus, UK is $14.1 million, Korea $12.6 million, France $9.4 million, and Mexico $7.1. IMAX has done absolutely incredible. So $37.2 million. That is... so this is a record for Romulus. That puts Alien Romulus at the highest grossing horror title for IMAX ever. So it's a huge success. It really is. Romulus still has Japan to come next weekend. And I would imagine Japanese audiences will love this as well. I cannot see why they won't. You know, the Japanese and Chinese markets love sci-fi monster flicks. They really do. It's pretty predictable, to be honest. It's just what that market loves. So it's done really, really, really well. Now again, because the international cume is at 194.7, for those keen-eyed, that means that the domestic market puts this film roughly around the $90 million mark. So it's nearly done $100 million at the domestic box office. So this film is a huge success. Pair that with the Hungarian tax rebate of 30%. This is a mega success. Where will this film end up though? 350 million? Maybe. Maybe. It is genuinely dependent on how Japan does. Japan is a massive market for certain films. Certain films have done $100 million in Japan from Hollywood. If they like this, there's no reason why this will not hit 350 easily. Obviously, only next week will tell us. We don't know quite yet. But this is a massive success. So, Fede Alvarez, you did a great job breathing new life into the Alien franchise. And remember, 20th Century Fox will be happy with this. 20th Century Studios will be happy with this. Because you've got to remember, Prey was released for Hulu. 2 sequels that got. Didn't make any money. It's like internal, right? They sold it to Hulu. Disney owns Hulu. Disney owns 20th Century Studios. But they can siphon it off that way. But because it was critically well received as well as audiences, they've greenlit 2 sequels. Alien Romulus is released in theatres, nearly $300 million worldwide, on a $80 million production budget plus 30% tax rebate, $56 million. Yeah, this is big hit. Big hit. I'm sure Fede Alvarez will be asked to come back. So would you like him to come back? Yes or no? Let me know down below. Cheers guys, take care. Bye-bye now.